Durag Diaries, yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to another Monday mornings. You know what it means. We're here to discuss everything football, everything Tottenham. There wasn't a game on this weekend, so we're just going to be discussing the recent news, what has gone on, taking a deep dive or a little dive into what happened across the FA Cup this weekend. Some big exits. Some surprises, or some may say not, because there's certain teams that you just expect for them to lose at this point, whether it's on penalties or not. You know who I'm talking about. But before we get into any of that, as you guys should know, make sure you like the video on your way in. And if you haven't already, tap the subscribe button. And for those who don't know, tap the post notification bell to stay up to date with everything Durag Diaries. And as you can see, socials are here, man. So hit them up. On Instagram as well now, Durag Diaries 1. Because a waste man doesn't want to give up the domain, even though he's got no followers. No followers, but Durag Diaries 1 on the Instagram. But yeah, man, as you can see in the title, there's a certain player who's been called up for their international team after making 0 Spurs appearances in 4 months. 0. Was this expected? Most definitely. We spoke about this a few weeks ago in saying that I would be absolutely done with him if he does make that call up and he does, go to that certain country before he plays for the club that's laid across his heart. The club that badge is, embedded, embroidered into his chest. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into all of my feelings and your feelings towards that. But this weekend we saw some huge FA Cup defeats and some fairly decent games. To be fair, I think that the FA Cup weekend as a whole was pretty good. I think there were some games, some good surprises, some good goals, a lot of red cards. Boy, I don't know what happened. It's like a couple man got let out on jail because there was red cards all over the place. Red cards all over the place, and there could have been a few more. There could have been a few more this weekend. We saw Aston Villa pick up a fairly easy win at Cardiff. Crystal Palace against Millwall. If you haven't already, one of the most disgusting challenges I've seen in modern day football. And I mean, I wish I had the video right now, but boots to face to Jean-Claude Mateta when it didn't look like the goalkeeper was going to get any of the ball, didn't go for the ball. I don't know. You tell me. It's Millwall. So is it a colour thing? Is there an underbelly colour thing? I don't know. You tell me what you guys think. Because I think there might as well be. My man's got 25 stitches in the side of his head because the keeper wanted to move reckless. Crazy stuff. And Jaffet Tanganga also scored an own goal in that game. Which some will laugh. Many fans, I don't know if you saw the tweets just a few weeks ago, it was rolling back at this time last month. Everyone, the Millwall fans are going, Jaffet Tanganga's not missed a game in 45. He's not conceded more than 2 goals, He's not conceded more than 2 goals in a game since coming to Millwall. And how he's been a revelation at the back, one of the best centre-backs in their modern day history. Blah, 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 which when I saw it, I was like, great. You know what? I'm so happy for Tanganga. I'm glad that he's having a good spell at a fairly decent side in the Championship. But since then, they conceded 5 a few days ago, or last week or so. They conceded 3 this week. So I don't know whether it was Tottenham doing the Tottenham thing and Dr. Tottenham, out here putting a syringe in someone's leg. But hey ho, since someone tweeted that, they've conceded 2 goals like 2 or 3 times, bro. It's dark. It is real dark. But Crystal Palace were 3-1 winners in that game. Good morning to Drula. Good morning, Jords and chat. I hope you're well. I hope you got your coffee, latte, hot chocolate, whatever it is. It's Monday mornings, man. So standard is you have a warm drink. I'm sure, I don't know if it's just a UK standard. I'm sure it is across many forms in many different cultures, but you need a drink to start your day. So let me know what you guys are drinking in the chat. I got my vanilla latte because as much as I like coffee, I don't like it that much. So I need a lot of milk to drown out the taste. But as well as some of the other teams, we saw Burnley, Marcus Edwards, who now plays for them. They went out to Preston side, which probably was one of the biggest, you could say, upset / defeats in the FA Cup of this round, in the 5th round. Because many would have expected Burnley to go through with their strong push for the promotional charge into the Premier League. So Preston walked away 3-0 winners at home. It's a fairly decent result for them. And one of the bangers of this weekend, Bournemouth Wolves. Hey, Bournemouth Wolves. I've come out and said many a time, Mateus Cunha, yeah, main MC, man, like main character. He is my number one target for the summer. If you need a multifunctional forward, you want to pay the price that Tottenham are used to paying, which is 60 to 65 million pounds, we need Mateus Cunha. Far too many times I've said, and even Jose Mourinho said it in All or Nothing, Tottenham have too many nice guys. They have way too many nice guys. And one thing you should learn in this world, if you haven't learned it already, please listen to me when I say this. Nice guys finish last. You don't win anything being a nice guy. You don't get that 10-10 baddie without being a nice guy. I'm just sorry, you don't. You don't. And you're not going to be a baller, a 10-10 baller, and achieve the best things if you are a nice guy. Sometimes you just have to be cons. Yeah? But forgive me for my language, but you have to be. As Jose said, we don't have enough of them in our team. And Mateus Cunha, he's there playing for the badge. Forget the badge. He's got pride. Pride of a lion. No one could ever tell him anything because he is swinging. That's a guy that you need in your friendship group. If you've got a guy in your group that knows no words, as soon as man them talk, smoky. Yeah? You need to have a bit of aggressiveness in you. You need it. Especially, these Brazilian players, naturally, they're a bit hotheads. We've always said the South Americans are hotheads. We've got a few of them in our team, and they're the few guys that I love. The Bentancurs, the Romeros, the guy we're going to be speaking about later. They're the guys that the one thing I've loved about them is their aggressiveness. I love that they're willing to just put their bodies on the line. But we haven't seen that enough at Tottenham. And yeah, man, it's going to be unfortunate to see Cunha get another suspension. He's going to be out. I'd probably guess 4 or 5 games. And at that's his second suspension this season for violent conduct. It could be a bit longer. It was just silly that it happened right at the end of the game because it was in the 120th minute. That's the one thing that I'd say would disappoint me as a Wolves fan is at that point in the game, do you really need to throw it away? Do you need to do the pride thing and, do you need it to do all that? I don't know. Like, that's the problem. It's just like Julia says here. We need a baddie, but not a liability. And that's where it becomes, are you a liability? Because in the 120th minute, you should not be fumbling the game over a little spout. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword with these players. You're either going to get at the good and bad times, or you're just going to not get at all. I think you got to take the double-edged sword ultimately, because as you saw, he was the reason they stayed in the game. They wouldn't even got to penalties if it wasn't for Cunha. They wouldn't even got to extra time if it wasn't for him. So it's one of those ones, like, everyone can get mad at him and saying, if you stayed on, we could have won. How about if I didn't score that 30-yard banger, we wouldn't even be in the game. So, I mean, again, it's a double-edged sword that I'm down to roll with. I don't mind rolling with a double-edged sword. Some man want a one-sided thing. The one-sided thing has one side blunt, so you either gonna get either or. And Harry Kane, he was the one-sided guy. Human Son was the one-sided guy. The other side was blunt. It was blunt. So when them man are trying to slap off in a semi-final, in a final, nothing's happening. So you just have to take it for what you can get. Outside of that, again, like we said, red cards were flying all over the place because Newcastle and Brighton, we saw very similar. Anthony Gordon lost his head. I was really surprised to say, because I was watching this game, surprised to see Newcastle lose it. Newcastle dominated for a long time very early on, and probably thought that they could have saw out the game. They had Isaac scored a penalty, then another offside goal, and it got a bit close. You can see Brighton were growing into it, and then when they scored that goal with Minte, it started to even out. It really started to even out. Second half, it was close, it was tight. But I'll be honest, I don't really know what Anthony Gordon was doing. It's one of those ones where it could be seen as a yellow, but he lashed out. He lost his mind. He tried to spin on my man, tried to swing at him. Didn't do the Cunha thing because Cunha actually was on badness, and Cunha actually swung for man, threw a bang. He just done the pushing thing, tried to push his head. It looked really bad. And he went out for a red. I mean, it was violent conduct in a way, but at the same time, nothing really happened. But it goes to that point. Are we gonna hold them accountable for their intentions or the actions? Because we saw with João Pedro just a month ago when he almost tried to he tried to put someone into the elbows of hell. He tried to give them the Shoryuken backwards. One of them. I don't know if you watch UFC, Shavkat Rakhmonov. Was that his name? Shavkat, Magomedov. That's it. Shavkat Magomedov. My man tried to do he done that behind elbow, and he would have finished. I can't remember the player was running behind him, but he would have finished him. Could have broken nose. Could have broken like orbital bone. It could have been a mad thing, and he never got a card for it. At first, when I looked at it, I said, nah, he didn't hit him, so it don't count. But I'll be honest, if that happened to me as a player, and you tried to hit me, and you missed, I'm definitely going to the referee, and I'm going to do the bitch thing. I'm going to do the bitch thing, because if you hit me, Houston, there will be a huge problem. There'd be a huge problem today. But he missed, so it's just lucky one of them ones. But also, going back to the Newcastle and Brighton game, Tariq Lamptey with a red card in the 90th minute. Like, again, I don't really get what it is with players trying to do these lunging challenges and make these risks late in the game. When it's 90th minute, you should know that all you got to do is see it out. Let's go into extra time and start again. These players have just lost their minds, man. Anthony Gordon's one was a poor one to concede, and knowing that the other team has 10 men and you have the advantage, it's just poor. It's definitely just poor from Brighton. Or Tariq Lamptey in particular. And then last but not least, last but definitely not least, Man Red lost to Fulham. At home, on penalties. The guy that missed the key penalty, Victor Lindelof. Why was he even on penalties in the first place? Why? I don't know. I'm bugging. Oh, my bad, man. I'm bugging. People. It was man like Carlito. It was Carlito that missed the pen. Squirtsy. Oh my God. I said it last week. I told people, yeah. He does everything outside the box. Cool. He's nice. Once he gets in there, he looks lost. Do not put him on a penalty. He can't score goals. Why you do a gunman celebration when you got no machine in your clip? No bullets. Man's out here firing blanks. It was a rubbish penalty at that. Send him back to Friday Night SmackDown. Or today he'll probably be on Monday Night Raw because there's no way that he's a footballer. There's no way. He should not be on that pitch for Manchester United. They're lucky they was even in the game. Fulham should have won it. Fulham had chance after chance. Onana with some really good saves, to be honest. Bruno pulled out a good goal from nothing. But they were dominated at home. Yet again, they were dominated at home. Like Man United, one of the most embarrassing teams to watch right now. They can't catch a break. They're like us 2 months ago, but they haven't improved whatsoever. You have players coming back, won't make a difference. Man United are rubbish. Man, Red, I couldn't believe that they lost to Fulham on the weekend. So now, I remember Saeed saying a few weeks ago, and Cass, yeah, we're going to win the FA Cup. Oh, we will be there. We will be there. 11 o'clock, NAF, 12 p.m., midday live, we will be there. Just know that, because yet again, they're in the same position as Spurs, yeah? No trophies to compete for apart from the Europa League. And they've not won a game in weeks. Man United just like, I said it a few weeks ago, I don't know where they're going to get a win. I can't see them winning any of their next games. They obviously drew with Everton. They lost to us. They beat Leicester, which you don't really count. But the last time they got a Premier League win, let's check this up now, because this is dark times. 16th of Jan. The last time they had a Premier League win was 16th of Jan, and it was when they played Southampton. They've got Arsenal this weekend. They've got Arsenal this weekend. Oh my God. They've got Sociedad away before that. Let's just caveat that with that. They got Sociedad away on Thursday and then Arsenal at home on the weekend. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. But let me just check him in the chat. Let me check him in the chat. I know I'm way behind, but I was just we done a quick catch up on the FA Cup weekend. Good morning to Matthews. Big up, Jords. Big up to you, my bro. I'm gonna save this one. Big up to Cali. Big up Jords, and big up the channel. Big up to you, my bro. Drilla, that was a mad challenge on Mateta, but let's talk about Cunha losing his head. That guy needs to chill. I morning, Jay, man. I hope you had a good weekend as well. Let's buy a Danso and sack off Romero. I hear it. I hear where you're at with this, man. Ronnie, get this fraud Romero gone. Sell this Argentinian fraud. I told you, Jords. 80 million for Romero, and I'll drive him to Madrid myself. Big up to you, Kengiz. Big up Ronnie. Big up Jun. And Jay, I can't lie. I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy and get 10-10s. Jay, your work on a cruise ship, my bro. Yeah? You work on a cruise ship. You see 10-10s every day, all day. I'm sure you're going to get many. I'm not going to deny that about you at all. You don't count. Yeah? You don't count. Get that stinky fraud Arteta out of my club. Big up Jords. Spurs will sell him in the summer. We need to figure out a shorter name for you. Fraud. We're just gonna call you Stinky Fraud Arteta. That's it. Stinky Fraud Arteta. Because every time I read it, it feels like I'm reading a sentence, bruv. That soldier. Shad. Paul Richarlison as well. Don't kill me. We do need a baddie, but not liability, as Drula said before. A little tall shirt, and his head was gone. Romero and Vicky been gone for a minute. For real, Tottenham Ranger, they've been gone for a minute. A long time. Sorry, let me just capture something here on the side to make sure I'm up to date. I forgot we had them. It's been so long that I don't even know what our best centre back line is. Our best centre back partnership. I don't know. We're gonna have to see. Gordon, an idiot for that. Yeah, Gordon was a chief, man. Cunha was trying to fight everyone, Drula. He tried to fight up that guy with the glasses that time. Remember when he slapped the glasses off my man's face? I was like, yeah, bad man. He said, ACG, anybody can go. I swear. Cunha's a bad man. I don't even care. I need Cunha running out. That's a real South American Sicario. Imagine Cunha up top, Bentancur in the middle, Romero at the back. Are you mad? Oh my God. You've got Pablo Escobar's 3 top hitmen right there. 3 guys that are willing to die for the badge. Romero's out here breaking someone's leg. Bentancur, he's putting his life on the line, literally. And Cunha's out here front line and smoking everyone. I'm just saying that's Pablo Escobar's hitman right there. You can't get any better. You can't. I'm taking Cunha in a heartbeat. I'm deeping even more now. Lindelof is a dead ball specialist, Jords. He used to back. Yeah, I made a mistake with Lindelof. I made a mistake with my man. I meant Xerxes. I don't get why they've automated offside. Bro, stinky fraud. I don't know why they haven't done it already. We've seen the offside rule be close, or if not very close to being wrong many a times. There's some questionable decisions up until now that you're looking at and you're like, I don't believe those lines. I don't know if I believe them. They've lied so much to us that I think they are lying. I think they are lying sometimes, especially to cover their own backs. But big up to Archer. Romero is a fraud. He should be on a pay as you play contract. I've always said pay as you go contract. Same thing though. I get what you mean. Man like J Spurs, big up to you. Man like Jords, big up the chat. They play some dry football, bro. They do. They definitely do. Yo, Amrin could get sacked, you know. It's not a joke. Hey. Tough conversations, Jay. I was trying to discuss it with them before. I was trying to, but no one wanted to listen. They were going, nah, you got to give him time. They're still going to say the same thing, but we're going to have to start being honest. He's losing too many games. He's losing way too many. He's been knocked out of all the competitions. Europa League is coming next. They're going to get slapped up away from home by Real Sociedad, and it's going to be a bad day. But big up to my guy in a coma. Hey, that's a membership guy right there. That's VIP status. In a coma. How are you doing? How are you doing, my bro? Let me know your thoughts on Romero being called up to Argentina for playing Spurs. But that's what we're gonna get into right now. I was just delaying it till more people in the chat came. And the regulars have checked in before we actually start discussing the topic of the video. But as you can see in the title, Gaston Edu, well, that's not in the title, but as you may know or may not know, let me share my screen for those, for you guys to know what I am talking about, and for people to not ask me, where have you seen the proof? Yeah, I'm gonna show you the proof. Don't worry. Don't worry. Let's close those DMs real quick. You guys are not allowed to see my DMs. Christian Romero has been called up for the Argentina's next round of international fixtures, as confirmed by Gaston Edu. It's an absolute disgrace. An absolute disgrace. This guy should not be accepting this call up. How many times do we see the likes of Saka, Foden, I don't know, Chilwell, Declan, all these English players that get called up and they say, no, I ain't going. I'm not fit. I'm not going to risk going to play a friendly, reminder for all, a friendly over getting myself injured so I can be ready to play my club football. I know Spurs haven't got many to play for right now. I know. We can all acknowledge that. We've only got the Europa League and the Premier League. But ultimately, your number one priority should be Spurs, not Argentina. I'm not happy with this. This cannot run. You can't be going to play for Argentina just 2 weeks after you return. Because let's have it right. Let me just check Tottenham's fixtures, yeah? Let's check Tottenham's fixtures. Because I'm pretty sure there's only 3 games before them. I'm pretty sure there's only 3 games that he could potentially play in. And even at that, he's just come back from injury. So you have to be careful when you've got these guys come. We saw early on in the season. We've seen it already. He got injured and then came back and got injured in the first game back. We've seen it happen to Van de Ven. Just 2 months ago, it's happened twice to Van de Ven this season, for God damn it. And just shown his ass in the fact that he doesn't know when to bring these players back. They're never fully fit and ready. So as you can see here, in the next 2 weeks, we got 4 games. 4 important games. 4 games that in my head, must wins. Every single one of them. You've got AZ Alkmaar away from home, which I'm going to just say it right now. It's the most important one of the 4. Hardest game of the 4, most important one of the 4. We have to remember, this is Spurs. Away from home in Europe is never pretty for us. So we've got AZ Alkmaar this week. Going to be doing a watch along for that one. Make sure you guys stay looking out for that. Yeah, we're going to be doing a watch along. We're back. It's been a while since the last Europa League game, Elfsborg. But we're back for that one. There hasn't been any confirmation that Romero will be ready for this game, but they have said Romero's been back in training. We saw the pictures. He was back in training last week, as he was a few months ago, and there was some delays. So I don't know if he's actually available for this game, but I will say this is the most important one of these 4 games. Now, this game onwards from that, Tottenham versus Bournemouth, is a home fixture. It's a home fixture against a team that's above us. Bournemouth, who we've just seen go through to the next round in the FA Cup. A team that beat us early in the season. A team that's high-flying right now. Because you look at our positions in the table, 7 versus 13th. They're 7 places above us. They're 7 places above us. And 10 points at that. 10. Oh my God. It's a must-win game. We have to win, for one, so we can close the gap on Crystal Palace, because it's not right that Crystal Palace are above us. It just doesn't feel right. And also, because West Ham and Man United are right behind us, as well as Everton at that. We got 3 teams that Tottenham could easily sit in 16th after this game week if we don't win. So we have to beat Bournemouth. And as you can see in the table, right below them's Fulham. We've got Fulham the next game week after this. If Tottenham can win both of those games, we'll now gain 6 points on them. We're gaining 6 points on either of the team. It's a 6-point game. We have to win. We have to win these games. It's a must win. And then in between those games, you've got AZ Alkmaar at home. We all know as Spurs fans, what is the one trophy that we'd be happy if we win? What is the one trophy? Europa League. We need to do it. We need to make sure going into these games, we have our best team available. So I don't want to see Romero coming back in one of these games, just picking up fitness, then going into his international break and then getting himself injured. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense for us. But John, can the club block the call-up? They can't block the call-up because it's the player's decision. The club can discuss with the international team, discuss his fitness, share medical reports to show whether or not he is fit to play. Now, again, it's down to the player. So the national team can get their own medical department to do a review and to see whether he's ready to play. Then obviously the player can then choose whether to agree to the team's review or the medical department's review from the international team. Now, there is sometimes implications on the player themselves when these things do happen, but at the same time, clubs aren't going to say you're not going to play in our next game because you decide to go to your international team. It's one of those things. International teams for some players, such a huge thing, is such a big call-up, especially these South Americans. So they take a lot of pride in it and they don't really like to turn it down. So I get him, but also I don't, because, again, number one priority is always the club. It always should be. But that's what it is. He don't care about us like that. I would probably agree. I don't think he does. I think we've seen over time where his priorities are at, and it's definitely not Spurs. You're looking at his priorities, and it's probably Argentina. He's won stuff at Argentina so far. His career achievements have all been done at Argentina. So, can you blame him? Maybe not. But not a Farisi. Vamos Argentina. Big up to you, man. Adam, who's shocked about this? Romero does not rate us. We've spoke about it before, Adam, in one of our other streams. We did say that we would probably expect that that he will go to this Argentina call up, and I expected him to come back just in time for this. So no surprise. I'll be honest. If you're from Argentina, you already know it's country before club. I hear you. If you're from that country and you're from some of these countries and that's how they're brought up, then I understand that is sort of your culture. But again, at the same time, I expect to see you wear your heart on your sleeve like you do for your country, for your club. And I expect to see him play in the next couple games if he is going to this international fixture. I would mark again. I don't wish injury on no one. But if you're going to get injured playing for my club. Don't get injured playing for international team, especially when you're just coming back from injury. If you're just playing and you get injured, luckily in the international break, cool. That's fine. It happens. But don't let it happen on your first game or second game back for international duty when you've not played for Spurs, bruv. Don't let that happen. Oh, sorry, guys. It's a morning. We're still waking up. Still time. Wiping the sleep out of my eye and them things. You know, them way there. Chills. You're better off getting rid. How much do you think you'll get for Romero? Good question. We paid 40 million for Romero, I believe 4 years ago now. Maybe 2020, 2021. I think it was 2021. I'm gonna guess. So 4 years ago, he's 40 million pounds. Romero's improved. He's also won a World Cup in that time. He won a Copa America in that time. And he has had quite a few injuries. I don't think this is going to cause for his price to double. And he's also pushing on age-wise. I think Romero's at around 27 years of age. Let me just double check. I believe Romero is 27. He is 26, turns 27 in April. So he's pushing on into those age where you could consider it to be his prime years. So I would say, and I'd probably suggest that in and around 70 million pounds is what I would expect. We've seen Crystal Palace demand 70 million pounds for Mark Gahey. Romero is definitely better than Mark Gahey. Now, I think this price will depend on what clubs do come in for him. If you have a Real Madrid come in for him, 70 million to 8 million pounds would be the standard price. But also at that same time, in that same breath, for 78 million pounds, they might be able to put on another 20 or so and go tempt Arsenal for Saliba or Gabriel, who have been more consistent and probably better defenders across the last 18 months, you could say. So when you're looking at it, look, depending on the club, you would demand between, I'd say, 60 to 80 million. 80 million will be on the upside if we're lucky, but I'd guess in and around 60 to 70 to be my specific number. But I've just seen here, he's not even made 100 appearances in the Premier League. This is how inconsistent he's been with injuries, man. Like, Romero's had a problem. He's had a slight problem with injuries for a while now, but I feel like a lot of it has been ignored because it's come across many seasons and it's like spread out. He'll miss 3 games and miss 3 games and then miss a couple more. But he has had problems with injury before. At least Ardiles and Ricky Villa honored their contracts. Modern day Argentine internationals like Romero and Lo Celso are a disgrace. Lo Celso, I don't want to speak on that guy. I'd just rather not. Big up to Inacoma. It's not a good look for Romero, but it's just a normal day for any South Americans. That is true. That's a great way to put it. It's not a good look for Romero, but it's just a normal day for South Americans. They're really not. They're not stressing at all about this. They're like, yeah, of course. What did you expect? But hey, big up Red Velvet Cake for the super chat. Yeah, it's £1. Happy day, Jords. Happy day to you, Red Velvet Cake. I hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. And hopefully it is a happy day. I do need to just say, guys, just giving it to you now, there is no North Divide today. There's no North Divide today. Got a busy day with work and stuff. So after a few streams, I'm gonna be away from streams. But I might be back later. I will be back later. We got a few streams elsewhere, but this week we're going to be taking just a little step back before we're doing 2 steps forward. I'm going to be scheduling in more shows next week, trying to ramp up the schedule. If you guys do have ideas of what different shows you want to see, different things you may see on other channels that I haven't done, and just different types of content, please, I always say I'm open to doing more. I'm open to suggestion. Just chuck it in the chat, chuck it in the DMs on Twitter or Instagram, or just chuck it in the comments. Just let me know anything you guys want content wise, and if I can do it, I can do it. If it's something I like, you know, them way there, I'm gonna try regardless. I'll try to make it happen. So just let me know. But Romero, Van der Ven, and Dom should be back for Thursday game. All's well. That's what we've been told. Yeah, I've seen that, Drula. I have seen that. The one thing I will say, though, is because they're due back for that game doesn't necessarily mean that all of them should start or play that game. Just because it's one of those ones. It's an away game. It's a risky game. One that we need points in, but it's also a dangerous game. It's also a dangerous game because we can't afford them to get injured again. But I did just want to take it back a second because I got Romero's injury record for Spurs, and it is worrying. It is so bad. And this is where we start to look at, is he even a defender that we should have at this club as part of our leadership group, a mainstay in our team? I don't know. He joined Spurs in 2021, just like I thought, yeah, in July of 2021. Upon him joining, we've seen he had a first injury within his first game, missed 6 days of injury. And then obviously we know that was a COVID season. So he then had quarantine to deal with after that, and he missed 3 games. 1 game for Argentina, 2 games for Spurs. Or 2 games for Argentina, 1 game for Spurs. And then, upon returning, this September 9th, September 17th, just 2 months later, November to February, 21-22, hamstring injury. He's out and he's missed 18 games. Does this remind you of something? December 8th to March 9th. 92 days, 81 days. He's now had 2 injuries at Spurs that have kept him out for 3 months plus. That's just 2 injuries. So at his first season, we missed him for 3 months, and this season we've missed him for 3 months. Cool. Let's look at the seasons in between them. Let's look at. Also, just to throw it out there, hip problems again at the end of that season. So he missed the last couple games of that season in 2022. So overall, in that season in 21 to 22, he missed around 105 days at Spurs. 105 days. Now, you take that up with what you want. 105 days. 22 to 23 was one of his seasons where he had the least amount of injuries. One of the seasons where he had his least amount of injuries. And even then, he still had an injury at the start of the season, which kept him out for 3 games. And then an injury for around 3 weeks between October and November, where he missed 2 international games and then 4 Spurs games. This season, he was actually fairly fit, but still managed to miss 38 days through injury. So just over a month. And then last season, 23 to 24, was the one season where he was actually available for the majority of it, barring just 20 days where he was out between December 24th and January 12th. We know last season, some of the issues that he did have was also injury, suspension. So he missed quite a few games through suspension. But ultimately, we've now seen that Romero, during his Spurs career, has had injury after injury after injury after injury. And one of the biggest issues is 2 of those have been hamstring strains. fairly big hamstring strains. So if he picks up another hamstring injury, which has kept him out 3 times already, we've got 2 defenders that have hamstring problems. It just doesn't make sense at this point. You can't have 2 players playing at this speed and expecting them to do better when we've just got hamstring issues. And they're both injury prone. Both injury prone with the same injury at that. Like, it's just a mess. It's just a mess. It's just not pretty. And clubs don't have to release if injured. That's the thing, though. He's not necessarily injured right now because he's been back in training. So it's one of those ones. They do have to technically release him because he is fit to play this week and next week. So he's going to be fit for those fixtures. Like, fit is what I mean by it. But 90 million Spurs for life reckons. Hey, if we can get 90 million pounds, I'll take it. I'd bite your hand off. I'd chew it off. I'll tell you that now. But DVO 95, Mickey Van de Ven was left out of Netherlands national team. It means he's still injured or preferred club over country. DVO, I think Van de Ven's one is different. Van de Ven isn't due back this week. I feel like Van de Ven is still very temperamental. I think with his one, the team and the international team both recognize that it's best to not risk Van de Ven at this early age of his career in these early stages, because a bad injury now could impact him for the years to come. With Romero, he's 26 years of age. He's been having these injury problems and still been managed to play through them time and time again. So I think it's one of those ones where with Romero, his body's a bit more built up. It's a bit more used to it. He can recover a bit quicker and he'll come back from the injury sooner. Whereas with Van de Ven, they don't want to risk injuring him further to then mash up next season where they'll need him in the Euros, or mash up later on in the season for Spurs, or they'll need him in some later on friendlies. Also, I feel like the depth for Netherlands is better at centre-back than it is for Argentina. Argentina need Romero, and also Lissandro's out. So they're going to be missing 2 of their main centre-backs if they don't play Romero. So it's one of those ones that I understand it from both point of view. And just like Not Free said, he understands our perspective. It's just one of those ones where, as a Spurs fans, I'm going to be biased. I'm going to be biased, and I'm going to want him to put Spurs first before anyone else. So you just have to take it like that. But Stinky Fraud says £200 million for the Arsenal centre-back pairing. That is a bit mad. That is a bit mad. You're definitely pushing it. You're definitely pushing it yourself there, bro. £200 million for the centre-back pairing of Arsenal. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know, sir. I really don't know. It could also be that Romero called out the Spurs owners for lack of ambition as another reason for him not playing. As much as I think that could be a possibility, I think it's too early in the season for them to be like, yeah, Romero's not going to play now for the next 3 months, when it's very clear to see we have a centre-back problem. Ben Davies is not available. Archie Gray is not a centre-back. Van de Ven is not available. Dragusin is not available. We have to be... I don't think the club is going to have that much pride and ego that they're now going to be like, Romero's not allowed to play until the end of the season because he said so and so forth. I don't think they're that stupid. Well, I hope not. I hope that they're not that stupid. I'll be honest. But let me know ultimately whether you're happy or not that Romero did get that call up. I'll say, just quite frankly, after ranting for a while now, you guys know my opinion on it. I'm definitely not happy with Romero getting the call up. I think he should focus on playing in the club. But yeah, man, look, it is what it is. It is what it is. But outside of that, with regards to the world of Spurs, it's actually not been an eventful week. It's actually not been a crazy eventful week since the Man City game. I know I didn't release a Man City reaction. I know people. Do you know what happened? Yeah, I done the check-in on Thursday and then done a few other shows. And then it got to Friday and then I was just like, oh, it's 2 days late now. Should I even do the review? It's only a City game. I've already spoken about it in numerous places. You guys know how I feel about it. So I was just like, it's probably too late now to release it. So I just left it in the end. I was like, well, it's fine. It's not because it's a loss. Let's have it right. It's not because it's a loss. I'll happily talk. I spoke on 9 or 10 losses in a row, bruv. Like, it's not because it's a loss. I generally just thought it's pointless me putting it out 2-3 days late because no one wants to see it anymore. No one really cares about the City game. Just like if I speak when I was going to do the North Divide show, I was like, we could talk about City, but I'll be real, it's pointless, man. Like, why are we going to speak about the game 8 days after it's happened? And you guys have seen me speak about it on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You see me speak about the game numerous of times, so it's pretty pointless. Me and Hooks going through it. But it would have been nice. It would have been nice to finally address Hooks on the North Divide after he has admitted defeat of the league. You know? Or, well, I said that I said if we sign a striker, then we would do. I expect that we win the league, but if we don't win the league, then I'm only human and I get things wrong. So the human done what human things do, and the football gods were listening. Pray the Almighty high in the sky, because Arsenal didn't win the league, and they're not going to win the league, and they're pretty much out of the title race. 13 points clear. Liverpool are. Being 13 points clear at this stage of the season, like, is there a title race? I don't know. Like, can you even consider it a title race? They've got 67 points to Arsenal's 54. Arsenal will probably be lucky to finish on 80 points at this stage. I don't think that they will, because they need 26 points, which would mean they need 11 wins in their last 11 games, which just doesn't seem feasible. It doesn't. I'm sorry, not 11. They can't even get it. How about that? They can't even get it. I just deeped it. They're not even going to be able to do it because they're going to need. Yeah, they need 11 wins just to get. Oh no, they get 7 points. My maths is way off, people. It's an early morning, bruv. To get 80 points, they need 26. To get 8 points, they need 26. They need 6 wins and 3 draws. Oh, they could do that. They could do that. They might just creep on at 80 points, but I don't think it will go on much further than that. I see Arsenal losing a couple more games before the end of the season and definitely drawing a few. They've got 9 draws this season. They're going to end the season with double-digit draws. That's not a title race. How can the team ahead of you have 5 more wins? Arsenal are closer to Nottingham Forest than they are to Liverpool, bruv. Arsenal are in the top 4 race. Definitely not in the Premier League title race. Definitely not the Premier League title race. It could also be, oh no, sorry. Pity Plymouth didn't go through. My prediction to win the FA Cup is the Seagulls. Brighton would be a good shout. I think if there's any team that can go all the way and cause Manchester City some problems, it is Brighton. I think Brighton have shown this season already that they can beat City in a 1v1 game. But I think when you talk about playing football, Brighton are probably the most similar to Manchester City. But also, if you're talking about teams of quality left in there, I mean, who's left in the FA Cup right now? There's only Nottingham Forest who are a Premier League team. You've also got Brighton, of course. You've got Manchester City, Preston, Bournemouth, Palace, Villa. Oh, this is going to be a good round. The quarterfinals is Preston versus Aston Villa. It's probably going to be Brighton versus Nottingham Forest, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth and City, and Bournemouth is at home against City. So City could potentially be knocked out. This is a very, very good FA Cup final, or like final couple games. It's definitely not going to go to a big club, which will be nice, I suppose. But then again, that's another team that wins a trophy before Spurs. But if Brighton win the FA Cup, that'll be huge. I mean, Crystal Palace are in the quarterfinals for the first time in God knows how long. But we know that Crystal Palace can't do anything because we can't have Palace D talking up seeing his first trophy, bruv. We know that Palace D biggest achievement is just knowing that his club stayed alive. We can't be letting them win a trophy before Spurs now. That can't happen. So we're rooting for Fulham in the West London derby, or the Southwest derby at the end of next month. And then Preston Aston Villa, I think you'll know Aston Villa are probably going to get the job done there. It's going to be an interesting semi-final, to be fair. It's going to be all Premier League for semi-final, and it'll be interesting to see what teams are in there. I hope Manchester City go out. I hope Manchester City go out. But J Spurs, Palace D's just on never a foul for vibes. Pure rattler. He's definitely a rattler. Definitely a rattler. But you got to rate him, man. You got to rate him. He's single-handedly putting Crystal Palace on the map. The same way Wolfie does for Nottingham Forest. No one cares about Nottingham Forest until Wolfie speaks. No one cares about Palace until D speaks. So, respectfully, you got to give it to them, bro. You got to give them their flowers and say, for a small team fan to be doing what they're doing on the big team channels, you know, rattling top 6 teams, I rate it. I rate it. Literally, do it for the love of the game. They do it for the love of the game. But yeah, man, look, people, thank you for checking into the Monday mornings. As you guys know, gonna be heading over to Never a Foul in the next few minutes. If you haven't already, I think we got 26 people in here. Please make sure you have liked the video because this should be a standard. Make sure that you show some love. Doesn't take a second, doesn't cost a thing. So show some love on the video. Make sure you like it on your way out. I'm gonna see who I can send you over to. Let's see who's live, so you guys can enjoy some more Spurs talk. But again, like I said before, if you haven't, make sure you drop and let me know in the comments, in the chat, wherever, what other content you guys want to see, who you want to see me bring onto the channel, who should I get to do a one-to-one video with. You know, just give me your suggestions of what you want to see so then we can start to build out and map out how it's going to play out. But I'm going to send you over to Dean on Fam Zone TV. Big up to the guy Fam Zone TV every time. 10 p.m. Fridays, Trench Talk. You should have been there on Friday, as you should be there every Friday. But yeah, man. Are Liverpool really after Isaac? I don't know. We should find out. Dean's talking about it. Are they going to win the league? Hey, make sure you drop a DRD raid in the chat to let him know where you came from. But yeah, man. Durag Diaries, we're out.